Hello?
Cameron, babe, what's happening?
Very little.
How do you feel?
Shredded.
Is your mother in the room?
She's in Decatur. Unfortunately, she's not staying. Where are you?
I'm taking the day off. Now get dressed and come on over.
You can't, stupid. I'm sick.
That's all in your head. Come on over.
I feel like complete shit, Ferris. I can't go anywhere.
I'm sorry to hear that. Now come on over here and pick me up. You're not dying, you just can't think of anything good to do. If anybody needs a day off, it's Cameron. He has a lot of things to sort out before he graduates. Can't be wound up this tight and go to college. His roommate will kill him.
When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go.
Pardon my French, but Cameron is so tight that if you stuck a lump of coal up his ass, in 2 weeks you'd have a diamond.
It's Two Dads, One Movie. It's the podcast where two middle-aged dads sit around and shoot the shit about the movies of the 80s and 90s. Here are your hosts, Steve Paulo and Nick Brianna. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Dads, One Movie. I'm Steve.
And I'm Nick.
And today we are continuing our journey through the decades, through Two Dads, Two Decades, with 1986's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And this was my pick for us. So I'll just go into it real quick. This was one of my favorite movies for a long time. I think I probably first saw it. I was probably in elementary school. This was one we definitely had on LaserDisc. I've mentioned in previous episodes, my family had a LaserDisc player before we ever had a VCR. And this was definitely a LaserDisc that we had, probably my parents. If I went to their house now, I could probably still find the Ferris Bueller's Day Off LaserDisc somewhere in my dad's den, you know. But yeah, so I watched this numerous times growing up. It was the kind of thing that I would watch, you know, every a couple times a year for several years. I've probably seen this movie a few dozen times, and it's just always stuck with me as sort of this classic 80s, teen comedy. It's kind of a fantasy movie. I would categorize this genre-wise as both a comedy and a fantasy, and I'll get into some of the details exactly as to why later. But just really a special movie, probably the bedroom of a character that I most lusted after, like wanted for my own in any movie of the era. So Nick, what's your history with Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, so I think when I watched this for the pod, I realized I think I've only seen this one time before. I've definitely seen, highlights, and I'm familiar with like the memization of the of the movie, but I do realize that I knew the ska band Save Ferris before I knew what it was from.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think I watched this at some point in high school, and for whatever reason, it wasn't like a rotation movie for me. So yeah, I'm coming in a little fresh here.
Nice.
I didn't grow up with it, but yeah, I'm ready to dive into this shit.
Not totally unfamiliar though. It's not like a Thief, or neither of us really knew anything.
So, and this is one that is in the culture so much that even if you haven't seen it, you understand general stuff from it.
Yeah, I think if you have any awareness of entertainment in the 80s, like Ferris Bueller is in the zeitgeist. It's at least on your radar, right? So, all right, well, let's jump into the facts on Ferris Bueller's Day Off so we can kick this off. Ferris Bueller's Day Off was released on June 11th, 1986 with a PG-13 rating and a running time of 103 minutes. It is written and directed by the great John Hughes, starring Matthew Broderick, Alan Ruck, and Mia Sara. In scores, Rotten Tomatoes gave this 83%, real nice. On IMDb, a nice, high, solid 7.8. But the homies Siskel and Ebert were split, even though they've got the Chicago connection.
That's
here.
right.
But
no homerism.
We get a thumbs up from Roger Ebert and a thumbs down from Gene Siskel. There was one award that this film was nominated for kind of at its release time. So at the 1987 Golden Globes Award, Matthew Broderick was nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Comedy or Musical. He did not win, but he was nominated. The film was also added to the National Film Registry in 2014. On a $6 million budget, which we're going to get into a lot of cool, funny facts about the budget later. They took home $70.1 million at the box office for 11.7 times what it cost, a bona fide hit movie. No doubt about it. So Ferris Bueller's Day Off. How does it start? it starts off with the reason that my mother hates this movie. My mom does not like this movie. Now look, she's probably going to listen to this episode at some point and she can correct me if I'm wrong now. She definitely hated this movie when I was young.
Okay.
And it was because specifically she hated that the movie made the parents look like idiots. She really hated that fact that this is a kid getting one over on their parents through the whole movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's accurate, but she never liked this. And it starts off with the voices of the parents, right? The mom's voice, the dad's voice. Oh, Donnie, come take a look. Like, Ferris is not sick, whatever. And he kind of is waking up in his room and his parents are concerned and he's, snuggled up in the blanket and he's got clammy hands and like all this kind of stuff. And, he's basically like, I can get up, I can go. Like, no, they're like, no, you need to stay home from school. Like, you're clearly so sick. You need to stay where you are. Don't make it worse, all this stuff. And his parents are loving, wonderful people who are being taken for a ride. Yeah. As we to learn in a moment, as Ferris's sister, Jeannie, comes in the room, played by Jennifer Grey, and is like, okay, what's going on here? Is he going to stay home from school? What is this crap, And, he's kind of like signaling to her, like, shh, just wink, whatever. But, he's like Jeannie, just you have your health. Like be thankful you have your health. And I love her line. She goes, "You dry that one out, you can fertilize the lawn with it." Yeah. So she is not taking this at all.
No, she's on to his shit immediately.
She knows right away what her brother's doing.
To your mom's point about not liking this movie because the parents look like idiots. I am with her because a lot of times in a movie like this, it's, all my dad cares about is work. And then my mom is just, getting drunk and watching soap operas, or like those would be the caricatures of it. And this is like engaged, caring, present parents.
100%.
So Mrs. P, I'm with you, dog.
I'll be sure to relay that message in case she doesn't listen. But no, definitely it's true. And again, this is another movie kind of like last week we were talking about The Breakfast Club and the change in perspective that you have looking at movies like this once you are yourself a parent. This is definitely, these are two of the like healthiest, most like well-adjusted parental figures in any John Hughes movie.
So great. And the actor who plays his dad is like the cool dad in, I think it was like a Wonder Years episode that he was like a friend's dad that Kevin thought was super cool. He's also Steve Martin's coworker in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Who's there in the board meeting as he's like trying to make his flight. Yeah.
He is not Alan Thicke, by the way.
Not Alan.
He kind of looks like Alan Thicke.
He's Alan Thin. Yeah.
Boom. All right.
But I love that guy though.
Yeah, very, very good stuff. And so basically, Ferris's parents tell him, stay here, stay home from school. Jeannie goes off. I love as the parents are continuing to tell Ferris how he should just stay in bed and stay. But you hear Jeannie's car, the tires squealing off in the background because she's so pissed off and she's like heading off to school. But yeah, basically he needs to stay home and they go off to work. His mom's a real estate agent. His dad works in advertising in Chicago. And they're in Shermer. Like this is the standard John Hughes Chicago suburb. And we even get some shots at their high school early on in the movie. And it's clear that, it says like on signs, like go Shermer. This is clearly supposed to be Shermer High, although oddly does not look exactly like
No, it's a little,
it's a little different.
Went through a little remodel in the 6 months after Breakfast Club.
And a massive relocation, it appears. Because I think you can like see the Chicago skyline kind of from the front steps of the school. And you definitely couldn't in Breakfast Club. And Breakfast Club is clearly like right in the middle of like a suburban neighborhood. So it's like, but anyway.
It's a little more glamorous in this one here. So Ferris has decided he's going to stay home, and his parents, believe it, and he's like, they bought it, and then it cuts to like the MTV logo immediately, and it's like, showing whatever. And this is kind of a funny thing in this movie that makes it more of a fantasy type thing with like the text on screen where Ferris Bueller is talking directly to the screen and talking about whatever
it's like he's telling you how to fake your parents out.
That's right.
It's sort of like
the effective things to do. Like clammy hands are better than
fake
fever because
and it's
good
so
tips and tricks.
Yeah, absolutely right. Tips, tricks. But he also spends a significant portion of this movie just breaking the fourth wall and just talking directly to us, the audience. I do think that like most of the time in a movie when that happens, no one in the scene with him can hear him. Right. Because there's moments where it would have been bad for him or there would have been reaction if he could have been heard by everyone around him. So that is, I agree. That's why I consider sort of a comedy fantasy movie because so much of the action is taking place in conversation between Ferris and the audience where he's speaking directly to us. Yeah. Very much like Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So, but there's a few really great things in here. One of the things I love is, like I said, this was a childhood, this was like a bedroom in a movie that I always wanted. He's got like walls of windows viewing out to like this beautiful day. He opens up the blinds or the drapes or whatever. And it's like this gorgeous blue sky, puffy white clouds, sunny day. I think we heard over the radio at the beginning of the movie that it's going to be 75 or so. It's 75 right now even, which is like, there's going to be a warm day. So that all looks fantastic. Some cool things in his room. One is a very authentic looking Jason Voorhees Halloween costume hanging on the back of his door. It's got the mask. It's got like the dirty sort of coveralls or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So he was Jason for Halloween this past year. So it seems. And then there is a really big Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me poster on his wall, which of course is the hit song from Breakfast Club, which we watched last week and which came out a little less than a year or right around a year before this one did. And I just think it's fun that John Hughes is throwing in references to his own movies like that. Not Jason, but Simple Minds. And he's basically, Ferris is telling us all, about sort of like that he really does have a test today. And he goes in this thing, and I love, there's actually a great line where it's like, isms, in my opinion, are not good. A man should not believe in an ism. He should believe in himself. And but everything that he tells us where he sounds at all philosophical and sort of like, mature and kind of like has these great ideas are punctuated with, and I don't have a car. He's just like every time
his
he complains
big thing,
about.
right? Exactly. It's kid without car throws tantrum and terrorizes a city of Chicago kind of thing.
In his defense, though, he's a senior.
Yeah.
So Jeannie is clearly his younger sister. Why else would she still be in high school? They're not twins. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to believe they're twins, right?
Yeah. Why didn't he get a car?
Right? Why does the younger child have a car and the older one doesn't?
Her car, the car that Jeannie has, because he was mad. He got a computer and she got a car. She got a new fucking Pontiac Fiero, which in 1985, 86. Oh my god,
classy,
dude,
really nice.
That would be. It was like the Mustang convertible of our era. Like, just the perfect thing to get.
Yeah.
So Ferris he's not at school, and the teacher's taking attendance. Fucking piece of shit, Ben Stein. All these people would always forward me, like in the email forwarding days, like 2005, like that era, or like when Obama was president. This is when I would get the stuff where there's 9 different fonts and 11 different font sizes, and it's forward, regarding, forward. Our country is in danger, and it would be some shit thing attributed to Ben Stein, and I don't care if he really said it or not. I just will say because of that, fuck Ben Stein, you suck.
I mean, look, I don't know for sure if those things were accurate to what he said, but he was a speechwriter for both Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. So, and his father was in the Nixon White House. So, like,
I pulled a Ben Stein quote, which I may use later.
Okay, gotcha.
But very funny this scene where he's droning through the attendance, and the funny thing to me is that the names start off with Adams, Adamley, Adamowski,
Adamson.
Like, good gag. That's like Dr. Rosen, Dr. Rosen penis. Like,
but I love it too because that's not the end of that joke because then so we've got like 6 A names, 4 of which start with Adams, as you mentioned. Then we go to Bueller and he does the classic, Bueller, and then gets the explanation from Simone in class about how Ferris passed out at 31 Flavors or whatever it might be, and then immediately goes to Frye, which is Cameron, his best friend, which we're about to see. So you're telling me there are 6 kids in this class of like 18. Like there's not that many kids in the class. 6 of them have names that start with A. Then you have Bueller, and then you have nothing till Frye. Like for whatever reason, that to me is the funniest part of that gag. But we do get the call to Frye, and that's Cameron Frye, played by Alan Ruck, Ferris Bueller's best friend. And so we cut to him, and he is also homesick.
I like his bedroom too.
Really nice.
He has that what do you call it? The glass ball with the lightning inside, where you touch the outside and it gets attracted to your hand.
I can't remember what it's called.
They would always have it at that store in the mall, like the Discovery Zone store or whatever. And
it's not a Tesla coil, but I always think of Tesla coils, but it's not that.
He has like, normally you get one that's the size of a snow globe. If you're lucky, you get one that's the size of like a number 3 soccer ball. But he had like a full size thing next to his bed. I mean, he has a very well appointed house.
Yes.
Cameron not hurting at all.
No, well, Cameron will know more as we go on. Cameron clearly very rich parents, very, very rich parents. He also has the best phone I've ever seen in a kid's bedroom. Basically, it's a really classy looking. It's got an answering machine built in with a speakerphone button, and it's like really modern looking, like, very cool. And basically, he's laying in bed. He's homesick. We see like medicine all over his nightstand and like whatever. But Ferris calls him and is basically like, "I'm taking the day off. Come on, get out of bed. Come on over." And he goes, "I can't. I'm sick. You idiot. I can't go anywhere." And he's like, basically Ferris is like, no, you need to come over. And they hang up, and Cameron lays there for a little moment. He goes, "I'm dying." And the phone rings again, and he answers it, and Ferris is like, "You're not dying. You just can't think of anything better to do." And I love that part too.
It's a fantasy element for sure. Yeah.
But then I love that we're getting Ferris is hanging out at his pool basically, and also Ferris obviously parents very wealthy, beautiful big home, big pool, whole thing, and he's chilling out there. And he's one of my favorite lines in the movie. He talks about how Cameron is so uptight and like needs to let loose and all that stuff. And he goes, "Pardon my French, but if you stuck a lump of coal up Cameron's ass in 2 weeks, you'd have a diamond." Yeah, I've always loved that line.
I think back at the school now, we have Mr. Rooney. Is he the principal or the vice principal?
So he's the principal, and I think we have to take a moment and say, because he's definitely the principal, Edward R. Rooney, which I'm assuming then that the vice principal is Dick Vernon, because this is only a few months after Breakfast Club took place. Ooh. So we must, if you are telling me that Cameron Frye and Brian from Breakfast Club aren't friends, I don't agree with you. Yeah, Cameron, I think, was very close friends with Larry Lester. I would guess. So
Cameron was right there, dude. He was in the line of the duct tape.
Exactly. So Edward R. Rooney, played by the horrific, awful, God, I hope we never see him another again. Unfortunately, he's in a lot of these movies. Jeffrey Jones plays Edward Rooney. We don't need to talk anymore about Jeffrey Jones and his proclivities because disgusting. But he is there and he is calling Ferris's mom. Because he needs to let her know that Ferris is ill and not in school.
Right.
And his mom's like, "Oh gosh, I forgot to call. I'm so sorry." And you know what? I've done this. Like, we even have email and stuff. Like the number of times, like I literally
freaked out when you get those calls because you're like, "What are you going to do to my kid?" I'm sorry.
The funniest one that has happened to me, I think twice now in my history of having two children at this same school, their elementary school. And my son's now in middle school, but back when he was there, like twice, I have been in line for a ride at Disneyland on a Monday morning and gotten the phone call that my kids are not in school and went, "Oh, right, shit." Like I literally drove them from home to LA yesterday and forgot to let the school know. "Oh, yeah, they're out this week." Like,
oh, they don't make it easy. There needs to be like an overnight thing. Yeah. No, that's happened to me before. And it is kind of a fefeeling similar to hearing the garbage truck when you didn't bring the barrels out kind of thing. Oh God. I hate seeing the attendance line on my phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Rooney says Ferris has missed 9 days this semester already. And he's looking at it on the computer.
Right.
He's like, it's right here, 9 absences. And in the meantime, as he's having this talk with the mom, the number starts going down 9, 8, 7. And Ferris is using this computer that he got for Christmas instead of a car. And he's hacked all you have to do is type how to hack school, and so you're in there.
We should probably mention it's odd because it never comes back, but like Ferris is like a zero cool level hacker, like from the movie Hackers. Like you can't just do this. This isn't a thing that's just easy. Oh, I'm just gonna like dial in. You remember this is like dial up. This was like modems were direct connections from one computer to another. Yeah. Right. In this time, this is very much like Matthew Broderick in War Games. It's like that same character is Ferris Bueller.
He got the same computer. Yeah.
Something because it would be incredibly difficult, even with like really shitty security of the time. And I understand he's not breaking into like a government. Well, it is actually government. It's a public school, but like not like a government agency. It's like a school, but like that's not easy. What he's done, right? That is pretty wild. But it is interesting. Again, on the fantasy thing, he does this. Ferris does, knocks it down to 2. I think is where it lands. Days absent 2, which is like pretty reasonable. And still freaks out later on in the movie several times about how he's missed 9 times and he needs to make it count. It's
right?
Like, no, you haven't.
Did that only work in the moment for when Rooney was on the phone call? Like, what the fuck?
Because that would make it an even weirder magic trick.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the computer has been changed, and that's when Rooney's freaking out, and he's like trying to get Grace's attention. That's his secretary or whatever, and he's yelling for her, but she's too busy sniffing light out to pay attention to him.
And we've seen her at the car rental counter in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Right, she's been in a bunch of stuff. Great character actor for the 80s.
We then cut back to Ben Stein. So we're going to cut back to economics class, right? Which is really poignant for today because he's discussing with his students in the most funny kind of monotone way, 19, like 20, whatever, like the Republican controlled Congress tried to pass the the Tariff Act, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Bill. Anyone? Did it raise or lower? Raise tariffs? Anyone? And he's like going on and on, but talking about how like, basically this economic event, right? The Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, sunk the country further into the Great Depression. And here we are today with tariffs once again being like front and center in the news.
Except AI is going to save us. Nothing's ever going to go down.
Yes. But yeah, so it's Ben Stein, is who he is, but as an actor, this is clearly his most famous role.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's maybe only the second movie he was ever in.
He's kind of an R. Lee Ermey, where you do one thing really well, and we can have you do this, but we're never going to have a movie where Ben Stein is the fourth lead. You're not going to make a St. Elmo's Fire where Ben Stein is one of the guys.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is where now we're at school, and there are some guys talking on a payphone at the school to Ferris.
That's right.
Back at his house.
And so Ferris is talking to some people on the payphone at school, and he has this rig. First of all, for him to complain about not having enough shit is insane.
I know, right?
Like with this computer and then this great synthesizer setup that he has with the sampler and all this crap. I do love that he's put coughing sounds and different sounds on the keys of the keyboard. If this was one of the other movies we've seen, he would have just had it recorded on a single cassette tape and would be skipping back and forth to the correct cough at the right time.
This is much more believable. It's like each octave is a different group of sounds, and then he's got the tones within those. And it's like, no, that works.
That's a good plan here. Yeah.
He leans on all of them with his forearm at one point. It's like, and he goes, excuse me.
But he's laying, he's important that he's putting his truth out, that he's getting the word out that he is homesick to people that are not directly at the principal's office, so that it's out there in the world too. If Rooney's trying to ask people, have you heard anything? It's like, he's homesick. I talked to him earlier.
And he's sick.
Oh man,
he's so sick, dude.
He's doing so he's getting the story straight with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So then we see Ferris is on the phone with Cameron again. Cameron, at least now, has gotten out of bed. And he's, or I guess he's kind of sitting up in bed at least. I think he's still in bed, but he's basically just like, no, I can't go anywhere. I'm you know what my diastolic is? Like, Cameron is just a hypochondriac. It seems like, right? This go whatever. And then Cameron is sitting in his car. Interesting choice, I found, wearing a really great Gordie Howe hockey jersey. Yeah, Detroit Red Wings, but it's a Chicago suburban native. Interesting choice to wear a Detroit hockey jersey and not like a Blackhawks jersey.
I guess. He's interesting. He's an outsider. He's a nerd. He's not with the cool ones.
Well, and Gordie Howe is, if you're a hockey fan, Gordie Howe is one of those Wayne Gretzky level sort of figures in the history of hockey.
Right.
They even invented a stat called the Gordie Howe hat trick, which is if you get a goal and an assist and you get in a fight in the same game, you've accomplished the Gordie Howe hat trick. So love the Howe jersey, but I always thought it was a little interesting.
Yeah, what would he get? A Bobby Hull? What was it, Chicago?
Back then? Oh man, I'm not even sure. This is pre-Chris Chelios, which is about when I started paying attention to the Blackhawks. So Stan Mikita maybe.
All right. Let's get him on a Stan Mikita jersey here.
But he's sitting in his car now.
Yeah. So, and Cam cannot get his car started. And he's also kind of talking to himself, like, I can't believe this guy's talking to me into this. Like, I want to stay home. So he's not happy about any of this right now.
But he knows he's just
he's being pulled by a force. It's like, look, you're going to keep asking me, so I'm just going to do this now, because my punishment is you're never going to shut the fuck up.
It's a thing where it's like, there's an interesting thing with Cameron here where, I think Cameron really does, he and Ferris really are friends, but there is an element that Cameron's like, if he would just leave me alone, I would just do what I want, and I would never have to worry about anything or see anybody. But because of Ferris, I have to go out of the house. Yeah. I have to get dressed. I have to do this shit. And I'm sure there is part of him that wants to. Yeah. But there's a lot of him that doesn't. And so he sort of is struggling with himself, and he ends up going eventually. We cut back to the school, and this is actually my favorite of the teachers that we see, because there's Ben Stein, and he's got funny stuff with the monotonous, but this guy who's appears to be like an English or literature type teacher, and he goes, in what way does the author's use of the prison symbolize? It's just like the most ridiculous.
I don't know if I saw him in the credits or not. I might be tripping. Was that Del Close?
I don't know, actually.
I feel like he had a small part in that movie. But
it's very funny.
I like the goofy teachers. I mean, that's an important part of it.
But the reason we're seeing him is that Sloane Peterson, played by Mia Sara, is in this class. And we are also getting a woman in a nurse's, scrub. She's got the white sort of nurse uniform. She's walking down the halls. She ends up coming into the class and pulling Sloane out and telling her that your father just called. Your grandmother has just passed. And Sloane tears up, and she hugged the nurse, hugs her. Oh dear. She's this very maternal woman. She's really hugging her close and everything. It's very sweet. We later learned from Grace that woman's name is Florence Sparrow, which I think is hilarious because Florence Nightingale is right there. And it's just clearly a reference. It always makes me chuckle. But basically, Grace tells Rooney, Mr. Peterson, Sloane's father, called, said that her grandmother had passed away. I've sent Florence Sparrow to go get her, let her know that that's happened or whatever. And so Rooney asks for Peterson's daytime number, like his work number, whatever, right? But then his phone rings. Grace answers it. Oh, wouldn't you know? It's Mr. Peterson on line 1, kind of thing. Do you still want his daytime number? Like, she's so funny, whatever. But it's Cameron, as it turns out. And he's doing this great kind of, Chicago cop accent, like kind of thing.
You better get my kid out of school right now. Yeah, he does a nice impression there.
It's funny.
And Rooney doesn't buy it because he's like
immediately
he's sniffing out Bueller from the second he woke up this morning, from 7:06 when the day started, and he's like, yeah, fuck this. He's like, oh, really? The grandma's dead? Well, I'm gonna need to see a body, and he's really getting after him about this.
It's so funny. He just says, "You just produce a corpse, and I'll dig up your daughter." I'm sorry, Ed. Did you say you wanted to see a body? But this is when Ed's world kind of comes crumbling down on him for the first time in this movie. It happens over and over again. Rooney does not have a good time here, but this one is bad because the phone rings again and Grace answers it, and it is Ferris Bueller saying, hi, this is Ferris Bueller. Is Mr. Rooney available?
Yeah.
So she's trying to get Rooney's attention while he continues to swear and address very immaturely, kiss my ass or whatever, to quote Mr. Peterson.
Right.
And then when she says Ferris Bueller's on line 2, and it's like the music hits and it zooms in on his face, and it's just like, oh my God, what have I done?
And Ferris is just doing his regular customer service voice. He's not even trying to sound sick.
No.
I feel like he screwed up there. But yeah, good gag that they got him thinking one thing, and then Ferris actually calls. So when he gets back on with the dad, Ferris is telling Cameron what to say and everything. He says, "Oh, tell her to I'm going to meet her outside of the school. She needs to be by herself." "Oh, she should be by herself." and then he's like, "You know what? I want you out there too." And he's kind of messing up the plan and everything. Ferris gets mad, or he's giving Cameron a hard time for screwing up that conversation, because he's like, well, now Rooney's going to be out there instead of us just being able to pick him up. And his payment for screwing this up, which is fucking manipulative, abusive bullshit behavior that Ferris is doing to Cameron, is, well, you owe me this. So I'm going to take your dad's priceless Ferrari. Since your car's not working. So we're going to take that to go pick up Sloan.
His car works because he got to Ferris's house, but it's no one would believe that Mr. Peterson drives that piece of shit, is what he says.
Oh, that's right.
And then
that's
he's
what it was.
I don't even have a piece of shit of my own. I have to be jealous about yours. So it's not like that. But nobody will believe that her dad, who's apparently chief of or a captain in the Chicago Police Department, drives a shitty car. Right? Is the thing. And so then we get to Cameron's dad's garage, the car, and it is spectacular. It is a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California, and it's an amazing car. And I dug up a little bit of details about the car.
Ooh, okay.
So in 1961, if you had bought this car, they did only make 1,000 or so. He said less than 1,000 made or something like that. And if you were to buy it from Ferrari in 1961, I believe the MSRP was in the ballpark of about $14,000, which is maybe 150 grand in today's dollars, right? So it's a very reasonable price for a Ferrari, especially one this limited in number. But that price has gone up and up and up and up and up over the years because it really is a rare vehicle. At the time this movie was filmed, they could have acquired one of these cars for about $500,000. Well, on a $6 million budget, that's not going to work. You're not going to spend 500 grand on a car. They used kit cars, and they did use several. Later on, there's some scenes with some joyriding happening in the car. They actually wrecked 2 of the kits filming those scenes and had to end up using a total of 3 kits to do it. But obviously, that's significantly cheaper than a real one. This is the part I love. Today, last year in 2025, one of these vehicles was sold at auction at the Concours d'Elegance, which is in Pebble Beach, California, which is a huge luxury car show and auction. And it sold for $25.6 million. The car did.
Lord.
If you took the budget of the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which was $6 million in 1986, and you adjusted it for inflation today, you only get to about $18 million. So the value of the car in the movie, it far outstrips the actual cost to make the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which I find hilarious.
Damn.
Even the cheapest recent sale of a 61 California Spider that I could find was around $8 million, which in nominal dollars is still more than the budget of the film back in 86. So
Jeez,
the car is worth more than the movie basically.
So it's not something you just make your friend let you use because you're trying to guilt him into, hey, but he has to look cool picking this up. We get the Oh Yeah song. We get the Bow Bow Oh Yeah song.
By Yellow.
Which...
For the first of 2 times in this movie.
That's right. We see it a couple times. Ferris now takes off in this car pretending to be Sloane's dad.
Right, Mr. Peterson.
And he's wearing kind of a sneak preview to his future career as Inspector Gadget. He has a bit of an Inspector Gadget hat on.
It's funny,
and a coat and glasses, so he's not recognizable. But his plan is, well, I'm going to stay in the car and pick her up.
So he pulls up to the front of the high school.
Yep.
And it's funny. Sloane's reaction is very funny when she sees the car. She's like, whoa. Like she was not, she had no idea that was going to be part of the plan or whatever. There's clearly a lot of this. Like when the nurse showed up to Sloane's classroom, she immediately puts on her jacket, even though no one has said anything about who that woman is there for. So she knew ahead of time
that there was some plan.
She was able to set the answering machine at her home later is set to something similar. Like, so there was a lot of pre-work doing, going into this, which I think, sheds a different light on Cameron's sort of like unwillingness to just get out of bed and go. He'd already agreed to all this.
Okay. So
because he did prep work that was necessary the day before.
Okay. So then Cameron is that changes it a little bit.
He's a little bit of a wet blanket.
The innocent friend. Yeah. He's the guy who bails at the last minute after making a plan.
Because he doesn't feel like he wants to do it anymore.
Shout out to that guy, by the way. That's me a lot. So I can see that. So Ferris, as Sloane's dad, goes to pick her up from school, and Rooney's standing there at the top of the steps, and Sloane walks down to the car, and he goes, "Do you have a kiss for Daddy?" And then, kisses are the way a man would kiss his girlfriend, and it's supposed to be his dad. And Jeffrey Jones is standing there saying, "That is the most sexually deviant thing I could ever imagine. I wonder what else is out there."
And then he said to himself, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, seriously. Oh, God. So this scene, though, was just like, oh, man. Again, Ferris Bueller doing something he thinks is funny that's just ruining everyone's life who has to watch it.
I mean, the kiss is like innocent for 2 teenagers who are together. It's a very reasonable kiss for like 2 teenagers to have with each other. But yes, the context of, he even says something Rooney does about, so that's how it is in their family. Which is like, that makes it sound like you think that's not that weird.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? That's just one category.
That's what their family's like.
That's just one category of normal kisses between a
Some
man
people
and his
do
daughter.
lasagna every Sunday. Sometimes the dad and the daughter make a. Yeah, very Brazzers coded. No good there. So in the meantime, the word is getting around school that Ferris Bueller, and of course it's getting embellished that goes from him having a cold to worse and worse and worse,
as does every rumor in high school, right? All the time.
Exactly. And I think his sister Jeannie is walking down the hall and encounters some guy who's with a Pepsi can, like, "Oh, Save Ferris," like, we're trying to raise money for Ferris Bueller. She's like, what the fuck?
50 grand for a kidney or something.
Jennifer Grey, really good in this as Jeannie. My wife is a Jeannie. There are not a lot of Jeannies out there that's not Jeannie with the G. So I like seeing some representation in the film.
I thought the same thing when I was watching. I was like, oh, that's right. The sister's name is Jeannie. That's cool.
Let's see. So Rooney's calling around and everything. And they've taken off in the car. So they picked up Sloane, and the 3 of them are traveling in a 2-seater car to have every guy's dream. Hey, me and my girlfriend are going to drive your dad's priceless convertible around the city all day. Would you like to kind of sit on the back a little bit, kind of out of the car, and watch us make out? Does that sound cool to you?
Is that fun? Does that feel like a fun day? Yeah. So they have to leave it in a parking garage. They have a bunch of stuff to do downtown, right? So they got a bunch of stuff to do. So they go to the A1 Easy OK parking garage. I always love the name of that. I would absolutely wear a shirt with the big circle logo on the back that says A1 Easy OK Park. But yeah, one of the funniest lines in the movie is when, they pull into the parking garage. They get out of the car, and first Cameron's like, "Not here. I don't want to leave it here." But they're like, "Hey, it's a parking garage. Like, what could happen?" And he's got all kinds of things he thinks could happen to it. But the attendant comes up and just clocks in. The dude is clocking in right now. He looks a little, I'll be honest, smarmy. He's got like a little bit of a, not sure I trust this guy kind of look. But Ferris walks up to him and goes like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the guy kind of like nods or whatever. Goes, "You speak English?" And the guy looks at him like, "What country do you think this is?" I love that line.
Yeah, that was one part that I thought was really funny in his perfect, no accent or anything on what he said. Because he definitely has a face. And I'm sure that actor in other movies has definitely been I will cut your daughter's throat, like kind of.
That dude probably got typecast as like cartel members or like Middle Eastern terrorists far too often,
Yeah, so he takes the car to park, and he also gets this kind of look in his eyes like, oh hell yeah, I get to park this. Ferris's room, it's kind of cutting back to his room.
Yeah, his mom comes home.
His mom goes to check in, and he has this thing rigged where there's a rope tied to the doorknob, and if you open the door, he's got a dummy on his bed and this fake snoring playing on a table. He's got a very elaborate setup.
It's like a big mannequin, because we actually saw the mannequin earlier in the movie. It was wearing the trench coat and the hat that he ends up wearing. The mannequin had those on in his room. So now the mannequin's in bed, and there's like several different like ring screws around, and then like a rope going through them. And then it's like, as you open the door, there's a weight, because he was like put like a basketball trophy as a weight on the line. Yeah. So it would pull as the door lets go, it'll pull it down. And that makes the mannequin sort of look like it's like rolling over slightly away from the door as the snoring sound is happening. And it's all pretty good, except you can clearly see a very darkly toned arm and hand of the mannequin out from underneath the blanket. Like anybody glancing remotely in the area of the arm would go, what the fuck is that? Like, what happened to his arm? I better check on him. Yeah. Because she doesn't come into the room. She kind of like pokes her head in, which, like, again, I think is just another indication, yes, of sort of maybe gullibility or naivete on the part of his mom, but also of like her absolute and total respect for his privacy, right? She doesn't just come in, she peeks her head in.
These are the best parents.
Yeah, like, they're amazing.
They prove to over and over again to be great. But so right. And he is taking advantage of that. Like if you didn't trust me the way that you trust me, I wouldn't be able to pull this shit
off. I thought you were actually, first of all, if his mom didn't work out of the house, right, which she does, she's a real estate agent, this never would work. If he believed at any moment that she was likely to come into the room to like check on him, none of this works. Like there's so many things that like had to go just the right way and are all based around his parents' implicit trust in him, which is incredibly misplaced.
Oh yeah. So now we're with the crew and we're living it up in Chicago. Yeah, we're seeing some famous Chicago sites. Yeah. They go up high in the Sears Tower and they're like standing on the railing, leaning their heads against the glass to get that real effect of being, that kind of thing freaks me out. It is cool, but
vertigo.
There was this place in Vegas that was like a bar at the top of this hotel, and they had a glass floor section, ghost bar or something like that.
Yeah, it was like almost like a balcony, right?
Yeah,
that was then glass.
I remember that, and going out there was like, okay, I came to Vegas. I brought my coolest clothes. I'm ready to go out. I learned some dance moves. I'm ready to look cool as hell. I'm here with my friends. And then the second I step out on that, I'm the most embarrassing little coward that's ever lived. Nothing cool exists inside me. Yeah. So they're up at the Sears Tower. Yep. They go to the commodities exchange.
Yeah. What the hell for?
They're sitting in Randolph and Mortimer's Duke Skybox for some reason. I don't know how they got into where they got into.
Yeah. Well, it does look like a view, because there's like brochures behind them. It looks like a viewing area. So it does look like if there is
it's probably part of the Sears Tower, right? That's happening inside there.
Maybe that is. I honestly don't, because I've always looked at this and gone, that's a weird place for them to end up for any reason at all. They have a little chat about, like, basically Ferris asks Sloane if she wants to get married, you know, and she's kind of like, well, yeah, someday, whatever, you know. But he's like, no. I mean, like, today, like, let's get married. She's like, I'm not going to marry you. It's like a dumb thing, and I don't even know how serious he's about it. I think he likes suggesting wild things to people, you know? Yeah. So there's an element of that. But I also do think he's in love and wants to be with her. Like, I mean, there's no indication, you know, there's one thing, like, Ferris takes advantage of people and their trust in him the whole movie. He also shows real love for these two, for Cameron and Sloane, throughout the movie. I feel like there are moments where it's like clear that he actually does care deeply for these two people. But, you know, there's an element again of, like, I think maybe he just wants to kind of control things too.
Yeah. Right. Like, yeah. It's hard to tell sometimes. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and where else would a bunch of high schoolers want to go? We're going to live it up in the big city. We only got one day to live. Where are we going to go? Basically the French restaurant from the Blues Brothers. Yeah. Chez Louise.
Like, it's actually Chez Key. I know that it looks like an L, but that is a very script Q.
Oh, okay.
It's Chez Key for two reasons. One, the joke is that translates to House of Whom?
Oh, okay.
Sort of like
nice.
It also sounds like Shakey's, which is one of those famous Chicago deep dish pizza places, right? So
okay. Well, the maitre d', this is good character. Yes. He's very well cast. He would have been a good the guy Peck from Ghostbusters, like one of those kind of guys,
yes.
just a good asshole mini authority figure.
Flip side, I also think William Atherton would have been very funny in this role.
Totally. William Atherton would have been better as Jeffrey Jones's role. If we need to edit him out, we could throw someone like that in.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he would have been killed. He would have killed as Rooney. Yeah.
So they obviously can't get seated at this place. It's all reservations. Right. And then Ferris reads the reservation list and decides, okay, well, I'm Abe Froman, party of 3. Like, sit us down. So they're kind of threatening to make a scene. If you don't sit us down, we're going to make a scene here. So they get seated down. So I guess that's a win.
Well, it's sort of funny because it's a little funnier than that. Like basically the guy says like, you need to get out of here. And he's being condescending to them. But, Ferris is like, I am he is basically Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can just a few years earlier. Like he's an aspiring con man is really what Ferris Bueller is. And so he's not going to let the con die because some, snooty maitre d' is like not giving what he wants. So he says he's going to call the cops, but he clearly dials the phone number for another one of the lines there in the restaurant. They've got all the lines on the top. So that starts ringing and then the guy hears it ringing, but then but Ferris the phone, he's like, well, I need to take that phone call. Like take whatever, go find another phone or I'll yell rat, like whatever. So then when he picks it up, it's Sloan then on the call Ferris has and saying, I'd like to speak to Abe Froman. Right. And then the guy says, well, could you describe him? I'll search the restaurant. And she describes exactly what Ferris is wearing.
She only describes his clothes. She doesn't talk about how he looks at all.
Funny. Like, should have been more like, like early 20s. He could have gotten away with that, right? Yeah. Brown hair, whatever. He says like devastatingly handsome, it's cute. But then they're even smarter than that because then Ferris goes, okay, until he comes back, Cameron, get on here and get ready to do your Mr. Peterson impression. And he switches over to listen in on quote Ferris's line. And that's when he goes, this is George Peterson, Chicago police or whatever, and it's like drives home to the maitre d' that actually the dude called 911.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's a complicatedness to this con. Yeah. But it is still a con.
Sure.
Anything else.
Yeah, no, they do a good job of like figuring out who in our friend group can do what impressions to like utilize this in different parts of the game.
I think that would have been me for almost all of the shit
dude,
my friends
I was gonna say, you're like the Robin Williams and everyone else is sitting there. So yeah, success, I guess. We get to
they get to pay hundreds of dollars for a French lunch.
Yeah, they get to sit there and eat at a fancy place. Yeah. And it's flashing back a little just to Jeannie, Ferris's sister, who just is getting increasingly furious that why does my brother get away with everything? I'm going to take my car and drive around looking for him. My car that he doesn't have, that I have.
Also, why does he get to skip school? I'll just skip school.
I'll skip school all day.
She does the exact same thing.
Exactly. The same thing with Rooney. I mean, it is a abuse of resources to send this one guy out for his entire day trying to track down this kid.
Rooney's attitude towards his responsibility and duties to the student body are so out of whack. He makes Dick Vernon look like Mr. Rogers.
Seriously.
Like he is so hell bent on this one kid. And like if you look, we saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High a few weeks ago, right? And Mr. Hand, not really wanting Spicoli back in his class next year. So he kind of like talks to him, make sure he learned something. He checks in on him to make sure he learned something.
Right.
As a teacher, an educator does.
Right.
All Rooney wants to do is catch Ferris to keep him at school another year.
Yeah.
Rooney with his girlfriend.
He has no he's just on this quest and he's fully obsessed.
And he isn't even thinking about the fact that like Ferris's girlfriend is a junior. She's going to be there next year. So all he's doing is making him spend another year with his girlfriend if he's successful. Right. Which doesn't even like that insane of a punishment to me, but like whatever. Nobody wants a 5th year of high school. Don't get me wrong.
He's got a personal slight and the only thing that matters is him defeating Ferris in some way.
Exactly. Which is insane. Cause this, again, we're talking about a child. We're talking about Ferris is like maybe 18, but like definitely not older than that. And like essentially a child. And so this is
I wouldn't expect that guy to know the definition of a child. But,
anyway.
So Ferris is, he says something about they're driving when they're driving the car, does Ferris say something about like, it is so choice?
He's in the bathroom at the restaurant. And yes, he's doing him under the fourth wall talk. And he's like, I do love driving it. It is so choice. If you have the means, I suggest picking one up. It was when that line happened that I'm like, I'm looking up all like, what did this cost then? What does it cost now? And I'm like, the means. Yeah, I'll put this on my wish list, my bucket list. I'll save up. By the time I could afford it, it would have to be worth $50 to $60 million. I'll have to save a lot more money than 25 to get one of these. Yeah. But I'll look into it for Ferris's sake, One of the things I love about the or not even love, but just one of the things I was thinking about with the restaurant scene is why doesn't the real Abe Froman ever show up? A guy had a reservation for 3.
Seriously, where's
Where is
the
he?
Rooney to go track down Abe Froman? we need Abe's Rooney to go get him. So at this restaurant, everything's cool, everything's great, and we're leaving, and oh fuck, who is here?
It's his
Ferris's
dad.
dad is there. I love the banter that they have because they had mentioned that his dad works in advertising or whatever, and his like business talk is, I'm telling you, you got to raise your ad budget. You're not going to do it if it's like,
we're going to take it away from print and outdoor and add it to TV. Come on, you bonehead. He's like talking like ostensibly a client, right? Like, you've got the money. We know you got the money. We just need you to spend it, you bonehead. And it's like, oh my God. Also the scene when Ferris was talking in the restaurant bathroom, when he's done, he like goes to the attendant, like gets a mint or whatever, gives the guy a tip, and his dad comes out of the stall. And that's when I realized, oh, for sure, no one can hear Ferris when he's breaking the fourth wall, because then his dad would hear his voice and it would all be over. Although the dad in particular is oblivious as fuck. Like the fact that he doesn't see
so many
Ferris,
times in this movie,
hear somebody right behind him, smell his son, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
No recognition whatsoever, because they actually almost get into a cab and then don't. And so then Ferris and Cameron and Sloan jump into that cab and run. And then another one luckily pulls up right behind. So his dad is reaching for what he thinks is the same cab's door handle. It's a whole different cab.
Seamless, and it's a new car.
So oblivious to everything. It's wild. And I love here, Rooney has now, I do love this juxtaposition, the reality of what Ferris is up to, right? He's in Chicago. So far, they've been to the Sears Tower and the Commodities Exchange. They've gone to a very expensive lunch. And Rooney's thought is, well, he's probably at a pizza place here in town. Yeah. Right. He figures Ferris is
he doesn't have the imagination. Yeah.
So he goes to this hugely busy pizza place on a weekday
during school
lunchtime. Weekday lunchtime, massively busy, 100 people in this place. And he sees somebody who is, very short brown hair and wearing kind of a similar leather jacket to what Ferris has on. So maybe it's one he wears to school often enough.
Yep.
And, he walks up and les jeux sont faits. The game is up. Your ass is mine. And the person turns around and it's almost like from Fast Times, like one of the like Pat Benatar girls from school.
Totally.
Right?
Yes.
The pixie cut, like the whole, the really striking cheekbone highlights and whatever. And, he realizes his mistake, but she like takes a bunch of soda in her straw and spits it all over his face, which I love.
That's a good move because it's like, okay, that's just enough to get this guy away from me. So meanwhile, our gang is at Wrigley Field watching a Cubs game. And we see on the TV, I don't know if it's on in Rooney's office or if it's on at the pizza place.
It's at the pizza place, yeah.
And very, to be followed by Zach Morris a few years later, Ferris Bueller catches a foul ball. So he's on TV and everything. During this scene where they're at the baseball game, sitting behind them is the most insane pumpkin pie haircut I've ever seen. This kid behind them, it's wild. It's like the kid from Face Off cut his own hair after he already got that haircut with lefty scissors. It sucks. It's really funny, dude. So that's something, a little Easter egg for folks enjoying the movie there.
I think it's also clear that like Ferris and Cameron and Sloan snuck into the game. Because it's like it's like near the end of the game. So I think they say something like, this is like that was the first hit since the 5th inning. So it's like later in the game. And they obviously haven't been there very long, right? Which is like, I don't know when this game started. Like day games in Oakland used to always start at like 1 o'clock. Like it was sort of after lunch, not before. But I don't know, maybe it's like a morning game or something. Sloan is sitting there doing homework. She's totally uninterested. But I love the way that Cameron and Ferris yell at the batter is something that like became a Little League thing. Like all my Little League teams, be like, hey, bada, swing, bada, he can't hit, he can swing, bada, hey. Like we would do that shit all the time as kids, like all the time. And it just came straight out of this movie. But yeah, and then there's a sign that Wrigley Field's got one of those big signs out front that says Save Ferris. Yes. So it's clear that like it's not like known that he's there at that game. Nobody knows who he actually is. They just know that there's a kid named Ferris in nearby Shermer.
It's left the suburb and now it's getting into this big city. There's like actual missing children, like hot cases happening right now. And they're like, peel that billboard down. We got to throw this Save Ferris up
meanwhile,
there.
Chicago SVU is looking to help Ferris. Oh man.
So Rooney now is at the Bueller house because he needs to see in person that this kid is sick.
He wants to talk to him.
Yeah. And a lot of good prep work by Ferris shines through here. So Rooney rings the doorbell, and it's like an intercom doorbell thing. And it's, I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling good. I can't make it down to the door. And then I think Rooney does it a second time and realizes it's just a recording.
It's a recording,
And he ends up trying to sneak in through the side of the house. There's the most mud I've ever seen in my life for as good as the weather was.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly. It's beautiful weather out, and it's like May, so it's like probably been nice weather for a while. The Buellers really should look into this. Honestly,
some kind of leak at
foundation damaging water issue they have on their side yard. Because his foot sinks a foot in, like 12 inches into the ground. It's like
if I did that at my house, tried to find a spot where I could water it enough that my foot would sink like that, I don't think there's a spot there.
No, I don't think so either. This is literally like Artax in the Swamp of Sadness. Like you could sink a horse in this fucking thing. Like,
you know what it is? It was Vernon's coffee.
Oh yeah,
it had the same consistency as Vernon's coffee like from the Breakfast Club. True. Yeah,
and then he tries to like sneak in. Basically, he gets his foot stuck in the mud and he gets his shoe stuck in the mud and he's trying to clean it off. He's just getting dirtier and dirtier.
Yeah.
And then he's sitting on the back porch, it looks like the back door or whatever. And that's when he notices that there's a doggy door in the back door. So he decides, this is a totally normal thing for an educator to do. I'm going to sneak in to my student's house through the doggy door. Right. And he is presented with the guard dog of the 90s, a few years early.
Movies ahead of its time.
The Rottweiler is there. The Bueller family dog is a really gnarly looking Rottweiler, a big guy.
I know. To the point that it doesn't seem like that dog would be cool, even if it was your dog. That was an angry dog.
Yeah, he was very angry.
There was a quick cut to the valets who are now joyriding the Ferrari, and they're playing like Star Wars music as they're like, flying around, just him and the buddy. And I do like that it is a joyride and it wasn't something worse than that. It wasn't like I'm stealing the car. It was just like, dude, let's go ride around in this car.
Funny enough, in the end credits, when you see all the music credits and all the different songs that are in it, this song is in there as the Stars Wars theme, plural, Stars Wars, but it's still credited to John Williams. So I think it's just a typo that never got fixed.
So more enjoyment of the city here.
The Chicago Institute of Art.
And I like this montage. This is probably my favorite chunk of the movie. And it's unlike the rest of the movie, but I think just as a John Hughes, like, he knows how to do this kind of montage, kind of like Steve Martin riding the train home in planes, trains, and automobiles as he's reflecting back on the trip,
the memories.
It just he does it very well, where it's like silence and subdued music and everything. So we get some good Chicago Institute of Art here.
A lot of Picassos.
We got Cam staring at a Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jette.
Oh, you looked it up? Or did you know that?
Which is good.
Because I can never remember that.
And I think it's Surratt. It's a very famous example of pointillism for art history fans there.
Cool.
But yeah, this is a great scene. And I think this scene does a good job of capturing the spirit of like, dude, all this stuff is out there for us, and we just never stop to look at it. We never take advantage of it.
Yeah, this really is. I mean, when the movie, if you boil the movie down past the whole kind of con man part and extract Ferris's sort of like wheeling and dealing and the negativity of that, this movie is really telling you, if you live anywhere near a big city, you're probably not taking advantage of that fact.
Yeah.
You know, there is stuff to do every single day. If you go into Oakland or San Francisco, where, near where we are, any single day, there's going to be cool stuff for you to go see.
Yeah.
And I know I don't take advantage of it. I haven't taken my kids into San Francisco often enough to like show them cool stuff or, go to one of the piers or the Exploratorium or I don't know, whatever. Like there's stuff out there, and it's a good reminder, for those of us in city adjacent suburbs.
Right. I mean, we're like probably Shermer's distance roughly from San Francisco.
Sure.
And
give or take.
I really did enjoy this scene. I like the art museum scene a lot.
Yeah. Very good stuff. We then get some establishing shots of a parade going on. Mm-hmm. It is the Steuben Day parade, which is unfortunately always in September. It's a German-American heritage parade. It's always in September. We know for sure that we're in May, so that doesn't work. But hey, whatever. It's all good. It's a huge parade in downtown Chicago. They do it in New York and a few other places as well. But yeah, it's definitely in the wrong time of year. But in the meantime, while we do get some establishing shots, we don't really see. We're not in the parade yet. We get them in a cab, stuck kind of in traffic, I think, because the parade's going on. And immediately next to them is another cab, and Ferris's dad is in it. He glances over and sees Ferris, ostensibly. I mean, whatever. But then he looks ahead again and then looks back over, and it's Sloane.
Yeah.
Am I to
Would he
believe
not
that
know her?
that he doesn't know what his son's girlfriend looks like?
For as engaged
Yeah.
and interested of parents as they are, I guarantee they've probably had Sloan on a little weekend family
Potentially.
getaway. We're going to Wisconsin Dells. We're going to ride some fucking water slides. Sloan, do you want to come? There's no way he doesn't know Sloan.
And her father is Chicago PD. I bet that whole family's been over to the Bueller's house for lunch or
Yeah,
something like that. You know what I
totally.
mean? Like it's bizarre to me that he didn't immediately recognize Sloan. But again, fantasy stuff, and it doesn't. The movie deliberately has to have these parents be oblivious for any of this
Sure.
to work.
Well, and then sometimes you're just like I've run into people that I legitimately know in a scenario, in a setting that I would not expect them.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to be like, oh, what? Like, I'm not thinking that person will be here.
Right,
'cause
right.
I'm in Reno. Why would this guy that I know from college,
Yeah.
So maybe it's some of that.
That's
but,
true. That's true.
I like that when Cameron and Ferris are kind of on the floor of the cab
Yeah.
and Dad's looking over, they're very aggressively rubbing a rabbit's foot.
Yes.
So I like the rabbit's
Which
foot
is on a
coming
chain and attached to Ferris's belt the entire movie, and is in his pocket. And you see the chain most of the time.
He has
There's
like
other
the swinger's
movements.
chain for the rabbit's
and there's
foot.
other scenes where he's like flinging it around or doing playing with it. He's got that lucky rabbit's foot on him at all times. So I have a feeling that in this world, it is a very effective lucky rabbit's foot.
Yeah.
But now we get the actual Steuben Day parade, and initially Cameron and Sloan think that Ferris has ditched them. Well, Cameron thinks Ferris has ditched them. Sloan's like, he wouldn't ditch us. We just lost him. Like, he's here somewhere. Let's look for him. Whatever. And Cameron's like, no, he's just gonna make me sweat. He's just gonna leave. Whatever. And that's when they hear over loudspeaker, this one goes out to a guy who thinks he hasn't seen anything good today yet, and it's Ferris up on a float, lip syncing to Dankeschön. Now, this is the third of 4 times this song appears in this movie, because he sings a little bit of it in the shower.
Okay.
Right? I recall Central Park and Fall. Like, he does that in the shower.
Yeah.
Rooney hums it to himself at one point, I think when he's at the Bueller's home. And then it shows up here. He sings basically the entire or the majority of the song in the scene. And then there's another time later, I think, where Ferris hums it to himself.
Okay.
Later. So 4 times we get at least the tune of Dankeschön hummed by someone, and then a couple times where he sings it.
Damn. Very funny, weird song to listen to. Like, Wayne Newton's voice at that age was incredibly odd.
I thought it was a
like, I don't
woman
think
at
I've
first.
heard anybody sound like that. Quick Wayne Newton thing. Back in like 2005 or so, I went to Vegas with my wife and another couple that we were friends with. We went and saw Wayne Newton, and it was like Wayne Newton's Holiday Spectacular. And he was old, but it was great. It was a good
still
show.
consummate
And he
entertainer.
had it. Oh man, he was so good, and we loved it. We had so much fun there. We got our pictures afterwards and everything. Didn't have the full Ellen Griswold experience, but it was still pretty good. So then the next year for my work, we were doing a Vegas trip. And we did these great Vegas trips, and they would always pay for a show for us to go to. So we did like Cirque du Soleil one year, whatever. They're like, what should we do? And I was like, oh, hands down, Wayne Newton. It was great. It was the best thing I've ever seen. So we got to Wayne Newton the next year. He had aged like 1,000 years in the time. He was not really doing any of his songs. It was more like Wayne Newton, a retrospective, like Wayne Newton standing in front of a PowerPoint of previous versions of him. And I was so embarrassing.
Oh, no.
It was so bad. But the first time, man, he really had it. So shout out to Wayne Newton. I'm sure you're doing fine.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So Ferris gets up there and he's lip syncing Dankeschön
Right.
as well. And then
Twist and Shout by the Beatles. Yeah. And the whole place goes crazy for a kid lip syncing to the Beatles.
Yes.
Like,
Okay. This is part. So I love talking about this. I'm glad that we watched this, but I have been melting down through this whole movie. And when this part fucking happens, first of all, shout out to John, Paul, George, and Ringo, but I'm not a Beatles fan.
That's
I don't
fair.
care about the Beatles. But Twist and Shout is like the shittiest version of a Beatles song you can
because
think
it wasn't
of.
their song, it was a cover when they did it.
This is like if you went to like some deep part of Siberia and there was some element of like, what would you imagine American culture to be? And Twist and Shout is roughly like what they'd think it would be. Yeah. So everyone who's there is watching a parade that was already happening.
Yes.
So it has music that's already recorded with performances that are already planned. And then some asshole fucking teenager gets up there and just, step aside, person who trained and practiced for this for months. Let me get up here and look like an asshole in front of my friends, which, okay, that stuff happens. But yeah, everybody getting on board with it is insane. People should start a riot and get that guy like thrown in the hooskow. I don't like that.
The thing that always blows my mind the most about this is that he's clearly lip syncing because it's clearly John Lennon's voice for the most of the song, right? It's mostly a John sung song when the Beatles do it. Again, it's not even their song. It was a cover when they did it. Songs from like the early 60s or before the Beatles got together. And yet, so it's lip syncing. So there's clearly a track playing. Mm-hmm. Yet the marching band around the float in the parade is supposedly playing the horn line. Yeah. Are they also like doing a horn version of lip syncing? Like, what is this? This is bizarre. And it starts off with like, there's like, they're right in front of the like, what do you call it? Like the parade, the like judges tent or something, or the judges stands, right? Because they're probably judging all the parade floats and there's some prize for like the best float or something like that, right? So there's all these people, they have these sashes that say honored guest on them. And when it first starts, they're all looking confused as hell and like checking their papers. Is this what's on the schedule? Is this what's supposed to be happening? Yeah. But then by the end of it, they're just jamming along too. It even shows apparently they are directly in front of Ferris's dad's building because he is in his office and can hear the music and like looks down.
Commotion.
Right. But it's like, and I get that it would be far enough away he wouldn't see who it is that's playing. That's fine. But like he's kind of jamming along to it as well. And I'm just like, it is the most bizarre of all the bizarre scenes in this movie. This one makes the least sense and is the most like fantastical. Like it makes me wonder if the entire movie's a dream sometimes. Right. We don't really get any other indication that that's true. But if you told me that Ferris woke up, quote, the next morning and it was actually that day and he just went to school and the whole thing was dreamed, I would absolutely believe you.
Yeah. This is a good example of just one of those like entitled guy going up and stealing, oh, let me get the attention and look how good I am. Someone who sucks at singing who gets up, oh, hey, I want to sing a song with the band. It's like, fuck you, dude. We hate you. We hate your ass. So Ferris very quickly has flowers delivered to his house. Rooney is still there. Right. And these flowers get delivered. And the flower delivery guy, who it shows his face later, but it doesn't show his face here. It is Louis Anderson.
Oh, is it really?
It's definitely Louis Anderson because later he's there as part of that singing telegram thing.
Right. Okay.
So shout out Louis Anderson. Nice. I love Louis Anderson here.
Good guy.
Save Ferris is up on a water tower.
Yeah. How did that get there and when and why? That's what I mean. Some of this stuff, it's like, is this all just dreams?
These municipalities are moving quick, like insane. If someone wrote great big hairy pussy on the water tower, could we get it off in the amount of time it took Save Ferris to get up there?
Not if Brad Hamilton's in the municipal government. But yeah, so now because Rooney hasn't been able to get back to the back door because of the dog. And so now and this is the one F-bomb in the movie, by the way, as well, is when Rooney gets the flowers, they're in like a vase. They're not just like, bundled. They're like in some kind of heavy pot. And we see him walking over to the side here and he goes, look what Uncle Ed's got for you little fucker. And he clearly, we don't see him do it, but then shows the dog basically passed out with the shattered things. He brained the dog with the flowers. Yeah. Like if you didn't already hate Ed Rooney and by extension, Jeffrey Jones, here's a good reason to. Like, Jesus Christ, who fucking brains a dog with a goddamn pot of plants? Like,
and this is like Bugs Bunny villain style behavior.
So bad.
Yeah. And also Rooney's car is like parked out front at a fire hydrant. There's a ton of parking. Yeah. He just parked right in front of the fire hydrant. And during the time his car's been there, 2 hours? It's got like 9 tickets accumulating.
Well, I love it too because we see a cop write the first ticket and he gets put it on there. And then the next time we see it, it feels like minutes have passed. Yeah. And there are like 7, 8, 9, whatever tickets on it. Then a few more minutes pass and I think that's when it's starting to get towed away at one point. Yeah. And it's like, but that's when Jeannie comes home. So Jeannie is now going to confront Ferris because she still believes he is just skipping and is at home. Mm-hmm. So she is going to come home and confront him. She, unlocks the front door, runs in, does not lock the door behind her, and heads upstairs. And when she busts into Ferris's door, it like is such a, aggressive opening that it throws off the whole Rube Goldberg pulley system he's figured out. And the mannequin flies off the bed and she's like, I knew it, whatever. But now Rooney has snuck in and there's this really great, I love the kind of, it's tension, except it's not tension for the audience because we know who it is, the two. But you've got Rooney sneaking around thinking it's Ferris. Yes. You've got Jeannie sneaking around thinking it's Ferris. And they get to a point where they are clearly on opposite sides of the same wall with like a doorway about to be breached. And I love because Rooney goes, Bueller. And then Jeannie goes, Ferris. Like, and it's a great moment. She jumps, he jumps. When she realizes that it is not her brother, it is, she might recognize him as Ed Rooney if she takes a second, but he is disheveled. He looks beat up. The dog got him. He's ripped up. He looks horrifying. She just gives him 3 quick kicks all the way up to the chin.
Style.
Woo! Yeah. Jennifer Grey with those dirty dancing moves.
Those paid off.
Really got that high kick going. Just rocks him and then races upstairs and calls the police.
Yeah.
Right move, Jeannie all the way through.
Yeah, and her yelling down to him about how, I have a sexually transmitted disease and I took karate or whatever she's
like,
saying to
I
him.
have a gun and a scorching case of herpes.
That's right. That's right. So back in the city, we finished our parade disruption. We're getting kicked out of the German Day Parade for fucking making it suck. And they realized that Cameron's
You got to stop holding back, Nick. You really got to let your real feelings show here. This is about honesty and openness.
I'm just saying, if I was there trying to celebrate German Day. So Cameron's dad not only like cares about and loves this vehicle more than anything, he never drives it, never takes it anywhere. He knows exactly how many miles on it. There's supposed to be like 130 miles on it,
give or take.
And there's like 300 miles on it, right?
Yep.
And this is when they get it back from the valet. So they didn't drive all those miles.
No.
They drove 20 miles.
Maybe, right,
15,
exactly.
whatever. But these guys were taking it around. So they're like, okay, we're fucked. And Cameron is like catatonic.
Yes.
This is the
out.
end of his life, and he's not speaking, he's not responding. He's just like,
and so
dying.
then the next scene we see is the three of them at Ferris's pool again, which I always kind of, it took me a while to realize, wait, isn't Jeannie there? Isn't Rooney there? No, I guess Rooney, his car got towed and he chased it down the road. So he's gone. And then Jeannie, we later find out very soon that after she called the cops, she got picked up by the cops for a phony report, because not only is like there's nobody there, but like there's no car there, so they don't believe her that anybody was ever in the house. So she's been arrested essentially. So they're now back at Ferris's pool. Cameron, for whatever reason, is sitting in a lawn chair on the diving board. Very odd choice, especially for somebody who does not appear.
Visual would never happen in real life. That's an effective.
But especially for someone who we don't believe is fully here right now, is dealing with something.
That's a good point, because you could see that happening, but this guy in his catatonic state had to set up and balance a lawn chair on the end of the diving board.
Which you'd have to walk along it with it, holding the chair behind you to then sit on. It's insane.
Not something he would have dealt with. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And Ferris and Sloan are just hanging out in the hot tub, and they're worried about him or whatever. And Cameron basically takes a dive off the thing, just kind of falls forward off the diving board into the pool, is sitting down, and is honestly, I always get nervous for him because he's letting out air real fast. I mean, he is just blowing bubbles out. Yeah. So the dude's going to run out of air real quick. But Ferris, being the real friend he is, dives in, grabs him, pulls him up. At which point...
But Cameron, was he like looking out? It looked like he jumped in there wanting someone to come in after him. No, right? So he was kind of looking up like, hey, where are you?
It feels like Cameron has been listening. He's kind of come to grips with some of what's happened, and he's now hearing how concerned Ferris is and wants to kind of play a little prank on him. Yeah, is essentially what it is. This is me getting back at you a little bit, Ferris. You put me in this position. Let's see how you like it if something really horrible happens to you. I'm going to pretend like I'm dead. Here I go. Which is shitty, but also turnabout is fair play. Ferris has fucked with him all day long, at least. So, but yes, he immediately looks up to like wait to see Ferris coming. And I'm sure that if he didn't come, he would have jumped back up eventually. But Ferris doesn't know that. So he dives in after him, drags him up. And that's, Cameron's like keeping his eyes close to Ferris. Like, Cameron, come on, buddy. Oh God. Oh shit, Cameron, come on. And that's when Cameron opens his eyes and goes, Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. And it's just like, you can tell it's a joke or whatever. But that's Cameron's little bit of a dig back at Ferris.
Cameron got back in him a little bit. Jeannie's at the police station now, and she's got to wait. And we got a Charlie Sheen sitting next to her, very early Charlie Sheen. I read this somewhere just about his character that he stayed up for like 24 hours straight the night before to try to get the appropriate look of like,
to be fair for Charlie Sheen, that's called a Tuesday.
I know. It's like, were you method acting or were you mething? Like, come on, man.
He was meth acting. That's tiger's blood right there, baby.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, is it amazing to you that Charlie Sheen has not gotten caught up in any of this, the files and stuff that are out there today? Good for Sheen. Apparently he was only interested in adult hookers. Good for him, man. That's, in the grand scheme of things.
And it says a lot too about just have your own plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Show up places. Don't require a ride from someone else. So have that 2.5 Men money.
There you go. Oh man.
But there's a good exchange between her and Charlie Sheen, and he's trying to drill in about like what she really mad about and all that.
And he's surprisingly
very
prescient
wise.
and wise. Yeah, it's like, well, it sounds like you have a you problem. You're not really, nobody else is doing anything to you. Why do you care so much? So now then I think we get back to Cameron and Sloan and Ferris at Cameron's house.
Solving the car problem. Right. Trying to.
Which is, here's the thing. I don't know cars that well. I'll be totally honest with you. But I would assume that if you were racing, full pedal to the metal with the car in reverse, wouldn't the miles still be going up? Don't miles go up even when the car is moving in reverse, or do they not?
Yeah, I guess so. I read something about this too, and it said that during the time, and I don't know if it would apply to that exact car, but there were some cars, early odometers, that would run that way, where it was just meant to track like forward progress, which is kind of weird, but you're not reversing that much, so that's okay. But yeah, what you say, I bet, is the case now. Like, there's no way it definitely wouldn't run backwards, but it should still run forward because it's wear and tear on the vehicle, and it's a very like legally protected thing, like the integrity of an odometer. So they must work like that now.
Miles on the transmission are still miles on the transmission, or whatever it is, right? Even if they're going back, in reverse gear, it still should be. And so that's why I was always surprised when I see this. Not that I like ever expected it to work, to go backwards. As a kid, I knew that wasn't how it worked.
Yeah.
But then more recently, I would watch this and go, why isn't the mileage continuing? Why is it stuck? If they keep running it backwards, it should go up. And maybe it's something where, no, in a 1960s car, it didn't work like that. It would have just stayed still unless it was in forward gear. But maybe a modern car it would. But yeah, something that I noticed, I guess.
I mean, decent plan, given what they had to work with at that point and the problem they had to solve. Like, hey, that's about as good as you can do.
I mean,
right? And so this is happening, and they go and check the odometer and realize, like, this isn't
not going
working
anywhere. Yep.
Sorry, Cameron.
To which Ferris suggests they need to, quote, just crack open the odometer and roll it back by hand. Like that, like, good luck on a vintage automobile. Like, go have fun. What do you mean crack into it? Like, you got a replacement, panel for the dash available to you? Is that it? Like,
He'd be mad about it. He'd be more mad about a cracked odometer than the
oh my God,
200 miles probably.
Yeah, I would think.
And Cameron's starting to talk about, you know what? No, I'll take the heat for this. Like, whatever. This is my fault. I don't care. Like, my dad pushes me around, and I'm going to take a stand and all this stuff. And he starts taking it out on the car.
Yeah, really beating the shit out of the hood.
car. Those are strong kicks. That's a chrome bumper. That's not a hollow metal or plastic. Like, he is stomping that thing. I need to know what kind of Converse All-Stars. Who knew, right?
Well, none of this car is like fiberglass, right? This is all metal. Like, so he's really beating the shit out of it.
Yeah, and Cameron's doing the bonus round from Street Fighter 2 and just beating the shit out of the car.
Nice. He gets a headlight in there, cracks it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I do love the way they do this, is that we are seeing the jack that the car is on in the back of it, because it's a rear wheel drive, obviously sports car, so they had to raise the rear wheels for them to run. And so, he's kicking, and it keeps making that jack is angling further and further and further back to where it's going to fall off of it. And it looks like it could go any moment. And he goes to kick it again and stops. And I love that John Hughes did this. Like, no, you stop and you realize, that's enough. I've done enough. I've made my point. He even says, I can't hide this. He's going to come home and see it.
Yeah.
And, we'll deal with it. And, it's okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And I think then he just like goes to like lean on it, like put his foot on it, like to lean on it or something. And that's when the jack gives way. The car's wheels hit the ground, races backwards through the window. And clearly their house like overlooks a ravine or something, right? They're on some kind of hillside, cliffside or
amazing house, by the way.
Gorgeous,
that house. Yeah. And to be able to burn an entire room with beautiful like views and everything just to display that car. And then there was some like Model T, like a couple old timey cars.
There's like three cars in that garage. Yeah. They're all really gorgeous classics. But like this is obviously the prized possession is this Ferrari. And it flies off and it is gone. I mean, it crashes, probably 20, 30 feet below where it started. And Cameron goes like, what did I do? And Ferris turns him and goes, you killed the car.
Yeah.
It's like, he really did. And Ferris, to his credit, tries to say to Cam, you don't want this much heat. Your dad already hates me. Let me take it. Like, I will say I did this. You had nothing to do with it. Like, let me take this heat.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't think you understand, Ferris, what you'd be taking on. You'd basically putting your parents on the hook for at least $500,000 to replace that car.
Because they probably don't understand the real rarity of that. It's just like my friend's dad's nice car.
It's a fancy car. Yeah. That he likes a lot.
But Cameron's like, no, like me and dad are going to have a talk. And, and I don't know. I mean, throughout the movie, I don't feel like there was a lot of Cameron ruminating on how his parents don't really talk to him and stuff. So this just kind of like popped in, but
but when they first
get resolution,
when they first get to the garage, he talks about how his dad doesn't care about anything. He just like wipes the card. And when they're at the commodities exchange, he says, because they're talking about marriage, and he goes, I'll give you 2 reasons not to get married, my father and my mother.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that car. He loves the car. He hates his wife. So we get several ideas throughout the movie that Morris Frye is somebody who just does not love anything in his life other than that car.
Yeah.
Not his family, not his wife, not his kid, nothing.
That makes sense. So
it's clearly a bad
now
scenario.
you got to face your family. We get away this thing that you put ahead of everything, and you got to be a dad now.
Yeah. Although I think Cameron is in real danger of being actually killed by his father.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. Yeah.
No good.
So Ferris has got to he's got to get home, right? And his sister is trying to like beat him home. So sister and mom.
The mom went to pick up Jeannie from the police station, and of course I love too that the police officer is like, hey, tell Ferris we hope he's getting better or something like that to the mom. She's like, okay. And so Jeannie's making out with Charlie Sheen,
right?
And then the mom's like, we got to go now, and she's pissed at her because it's like, she the mom believes what the police said, that she made a phony 911 call, was skipping school when she did it, like the whole deal. So she's in trouble. So they go home, and it's Ferris has taken Sloan home and realizes it's almost 6 o'clock. And that's when his dad at least is supposed to be home, 6 sharp kind of thing. So he starts running through the neighborhood to get to his house. And Jeannie almost hits him with the car. He runs through the street. She almost hits him. The mom doesn't see him because she's got like papers or something in her way, whatever. But Jeannie recognizes it and he starts going. So she starts speeding like a crazy person through these little suburban streets trying to get home before Ferris can. Luckily for Ferris, she gets pulled over at one point. I think actually her mom says it gets 2 speeding tickets. She got a speeding ticket, then she got another speeding ticket.
That
like,
it didn't show.
Oh my God. Like that's crazy.
And he's doing good, like running through yards and
the point break chase.
The point break chase. Exactly that. And there's one point where he's running through somebody's yard and there's these 2 women that are out there like sunbathing on chaise lounges.
Are they sunbathing?
I don't know.
Literally sitting in the shade. Yeah. Completely in the
They're
shade.
They're shade bathing. I don't give a fuck.
It's so insane.
If you had to draw a picture of sunbathing, it would be that. So he like runs by them and then the camera stays on them and then Ferris doubles back. He's like, hi, Ferris Bueller. Hey, the girl that I care about more than anything in the world that I want to marry? I'm still too horny to run home in time.
It's not a good, we didn't need that. That's not a good look for Ferris's character that he had to go back and say hi to the pretty girls in bikinis.
But it fits. Beginning of the film, Ferris, that's his move.
That's true.
So he's getting chased home and this song is playing, which I think was a bad song. I'm trying to remember the song, but I feel like it's
a lot of grunts and stuff. I don't even know if there's that much song to it. It's
Ferris gets back home and he's beaten them barely
by moments.
Like mom and dad are like standing by the front door and Ferris is in the rear of the house,
in the rear,
right?
where he's looking for the key under the mats.
Yes.
And there isn't one.
No.
But who is there with the key? Rooney. And so Rooney's like, I finally got you. And this is a point where I think Ferris is very lucky that Jeannie met Charlie Sheen at the police station. Because he talked to her about, why do you care? What's it matter to you? All this stuff. And she decides in this moment to basically save Ferris's ass.
Yeah.
So she opens the door.
She read the water tower.
Yeah, exactly right. She's saving Ferris. And so she opens the door and is like, oh, Mr. Rooney, thank you so much for driving Ferris home. We've been so worried about him. Can you believe someone this sick tried to go, leave the hospital on his own? Like all this stuff. But then and he's kind of like, what? And so she's like, Ferris goes in and that's when she gives him his wallet and goes, Mr. Rooney, you left your wallet on our floor. So that's now basically, she knows for sure that was him in the house. She knows he broke in. He can't say shit about any of this.
Yeah.
Like that's what sort of like, now we're all mutually assured destruction as far as like letting know anyone what happened this day. We all have to keep our shit quiet, right? So Jeannie saves the day.
She's a bro in the end. Yeah, absolutely. She absolutely ends up doing
Best sister in cinematic history, really.
Yeah. So he's home and, he makes it into bed before his parents get up to his bedroom door.
Right.
And, he says, I'm actually feeling a lot better. I don't want to miss school again tomorrow.
Don't make me stay home.
Yeah. And then it kind of ends with his like life moves at you pretty fast.
Which is kind of the theme of the movie. If you don't slow down, life will pass you by. You need to actually enjoy it.
Yep.
Like, this is not a bad
theme. Yeah, absolutely. And then we get our favorite bow, bow. Oh yeah.
More Oh Yeah by Yellow. This is the second movie we've done that has this song in it at least twice.
Yes.
Secret of My Success also did it twice. But yeah, this is there's a credit sequence. It runs through the entire credits where Rooney is walking back to the school, I guess. Mm-hmm. And a school bus comes by him that I guess would be taking kids home. So I'm not sure where it's going to take Rooney to, but whatever. He gets on the bus and there's one seat left. And it's next to this girl who like offers him a gummy bear that's been in her pocket or something.
Yeah.
And all the kids have Save Ferris like scribbled on their like binders and different things like that. And so there's it's just sort of punctuating Rooney's just like horrible day.
Humiliation.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that was kind of long at the end, but whatever. I mean, we got to wrap it up, and it's funny to watch that guy have.
Did you stick around for the post-credit sequence? It's probably the first post-credit sequence.
I was going to ask because I can't think of an earlier one.
I certainly don't know of one, but yeah, basically just Ferris telling us all, "You're still here? Go home. Movie's over." Like, which is funny. But
Clever move. Yeah.
But that is Ferris Bueller's Day Off in its entirety.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off
and Toto. And yeah, I'll go ahead and give my rating first. This was my pick. And like I said, there was a time in my life where this was one of my favorite movies, like a top 5 movie for me. And I still really enjoyed watching it. I did watch it in chunks this time, partly because I do know it so well. I wasn't too worried about like kind of being able to follow the plot, but I just had things to do yesterday. So I was kind of like on and off it. And it was, it did feel like it didn't flow quite as well as I remembered. Like there were definitely parts of it. I'm like, this is really funny in parts, but also, Ferris is not a likable guy. The parents are much better people than I remember. My perspective now is different, whatever. So yeah, but I still really enjoy this movie. I think it's a lot of fun, and it really still holds a place in cultural consciousness, from the 80s, as far as like, there are themes and there are things or references that people will make to this movie. Like you said, there's a ska band that named itself Save Ferris because of this movie. Like there's no other, that is nothing but a reference to this movie. I'm a 3.5 out of 5 on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's still really enjoyable. It's not like spectacular. It's not giving us some great message or anything like that, but to me, it's a very fun movie. I still really enjoyed watching it.
All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not as familiar with this. I think this was the second time I've seen it all the way through. And we just came off a John Hughes movie that I felt like did such a great job with the development of the characters. And you felt like you could relate to the different characters. And that movie to me was such a masterpiece compared to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where I don't like Ferris Bueller. His motivations suck. He's just a selfish, entitled fucking guy. I mean, it's fucking Ferris LeVey's Day of Do What Thou Wilt. Like he's not offering anything. He's only a good friend when he needs something from people. He ends up winning in the end against people that didn't really deserve to have the wool pulled over on him, and his parents and stuff. Like it's not getting revenge on bad parents and stuff. But I mean, not every movie has to be like a perfect moral example or whatever, but just as something of like, what am I getting behind when I'm watching it? Okay. I don't really like the character. I don't really feel like him doing this to his, him versus Rooney, fine, whatever. But that
Rooney's
guy's
worse than Ferris is.
Yeah, that guy's bad anyway. So then the stuff that happens better be fun and funny. And the stuff that happens in this is not fun or funny enough for me to really like love it. The parade, I fucking hated. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff in the culture, and I like Jennifer Grey's performance. I think Ferris's parents are good. I think Alan Ruck as Cameron is good.
Very good, yeah.
And Mia Sara is very pretty, and I'm sure she had a long, successful career after this. I am a 1.5 for Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
All right.
I know that I'm in the minority, and there's things that bother me that are not going to bother other people in this movie. It's definitely worth watching. It's definitely relevant, and it didn't hit for me.
Yeah.
So
okay.
A little different, but I think it's the context of not growing up with it as much.
That's got to be a big part of it, I'm sure. Because nothing you said is wrong. I agree with all your statements. I think there's just definitely some of the nostalgia and different things for me, hit in a way that make it still enjoyable more, maybe is what the thing is. So we are 5 out of 10 on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And that wraps up 1986 for us in Two Dads, Two Decades.
Yeah.
1987 is next. Nick, it's your pick. What are we watching from 87?
So 87, I just realized now we do have a carryover of an actor into this film. And somebody who was extremely good during the period of the 80s and 90s who we haven't seen yet, who I'm very excited to see. We are going in 1987, and we're going to follow Charlie Sheen as Bud Fox, a very young up-and-coming Wall Street trader who's trying to get in good with Gordon Gekko, played by Michael Douglas, the great Michael Douglas, who we haven't seen yet, and I'm excited to see him. This is Oliver Stone, 1987's Daryl Hannah. We've got like a good supporting cast in this. And should be a lot of fun. We're going to watch 1987's Wall Street.
Love it. We've got some John C. McGinley in this.
That's right.
No, Wall Street's fantastic. I will do my best not to constantly reference the movie Boiler Room when we talk about this movie, but there are so many great references to Wall Street in the movie Boiler Room, which I don't know if you've seen that one.
I'll tell you what, Steve. I am not going to stop a single Boiler Room reference.
Good.
Let those babies roll.
We'll do a little Vin Diesel doing a Gordon Gekko impression.
You know it.
But yes, Wall Street, fantastic. Love it. I've seen it maybe half a dozen times already. It's a great movie. It's been a while, I think, since I've watched it. I think for myself, at least 7 to 10 years in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But it's a classic. It's going to be interesting really to look at, like, you know, how this movie painted entertainment's view of Wall Street over the years, and the types of movies like Boiler Room, like the show Billions, that like really owe so directly to this movie in the way that it shows us the levers of power in the financial world.
Absolutely.
Super great. The Greed is Good speech is one of the best monologues of the 80s, in my opinion, up there with Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross. So super excited to watch Wall Street with you. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, that's a wrap.
All right.
So if you like what you hear, please consider heading over to Apple or Spotify and leaving us a 5-star review. It helps new folks find the show. Be sure to check out our website at twodads1movie.com. That's the number 2 and the number 1. There you can explore the movies we've covered, sign up for our newsletter, The Rewind, and even get sneak previews of upcoming episodes. We'd also love it if you followed us on Instagram at 2dads1movie. Once again, this has been Ferris Bueller's Day Off, another episode of 2 Dads, 1 Movie. I'm Steve.
And I'm Nick.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, everyone.